We're live. Welcome, everybody. I feel like we're reporting from Hollywood, California.
We are.
Yeah.
You feel right.
But we're relaying information and teaching and giving information about resources, and that's why this gentleman is sitting in between us. What is your name?
Hello, I'm Scott Marcus, and and that is the great rock band Sunspot.
Great rock band Sunspot. We might have the opportunity to own the rights to this song.
We might do.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Well, I don't think Scott is actually engaged to Wendy, who is one of the. She plays drums, she plays violin, and she is also the singer.
Not the lead singer. She's the backup. So that masculine voice is not her.
No,
she is the drummer, though.
I mean, like, wow, I love the idea of that. She's got a really deep voice. Oh.
But
and that's called, what's the title of this?
Summer Day.
Summer Day, and the band is called Sunspot.
We're all thinking about summer days.
But yes, talking about resources, I'm on to chat about writers' resources with you guys because I'm the one that goes out and gets different classes, consultants, and contests to list on our site.
He literally goes to get the resources that go onto the website.
Yes, I do. I gag and bound them, and they're in the trunk until they submit.
The resources and the people supplying them.
Yes, exactly.
It's a very big job.
It's a big job, but you just got back from Sundance.
Yes, I did, and that's also a very big job. Huge congrats to Roland Mayer, who was our Taylor Read My Screenplay Park City winner.
With his TV pilot Cloistered, I read it and I absolutely loved it.
It went over so well.
I can imagine.
We shot it multi-camera, so hopefully we'll get it up there for everybody to watch the whole thing.
Oh,
I don't
amazing.
know.
You should watch out for this one.
But it's it is so funny, and the audience loved it. Ate up every moment. It's got heart. It's got like everything you really want out of a good.
And it's a bit saucy.
A bit. Yeah, from the very opening scene.
I haven't read it, but it's extremely saucy. Yeah.
It's I don't know where it would land.
It's not for the faint-hearted.
It's definitely not gonna like open up before This Is Us.
No.
Maybe.
It's not a Hallmark TV
I don't
show.
believe.
No.
I don't believe so.
But it's actually really good fun. It talks about some very important topics.
Yeah.
And does so in a way that's doesn't make it about being gay, but it is quite a gay. There are gay characters in the story. There is a nun that likes having a dildo in her knickers. What can I say? It's a
spoilers. That's what you can say.
That is a spoiler. But anyway, you wouldn't understand that from reading it first off, though. No. But anyway, it's an exciting piece. He is a really talented writer. We are so glad it went to Sundance, and Scott just got back, and he's alive and well and not frozen to death.
Walking up and down that hill, carrying camera equipment and lighting equipment and microphones, and oh my Lord!
It's that's another resource that I want to definitely make sure I talked about because it's very near and dear to my heart, which is our pro tips and tricks on the website.
Yeah, that's
We've
why
got
you
so
went.
much to talk about.
So like if you go, we have a YouTube channel, obviously the ISA does, but also I wish I had it right in front of me, but like Screenwriters Toolbox, pro tips.
Right.
There's all of the different videos, and that's all captured from different red carpets at different, sometimes premieres, but usually film festivals. And
we have a ton of big names on there.
Yeah, you should definitely look at those. I noticed John Hamm was on there recently.
Yeah, well,
I had a slight lick of the computer screen when that happened.
I get it.
Mm-hmm.
No, he was awesome. That was from Sundance last year, talking about the report.
Right.
That premiered there, and Annette Bening was there as well. And just recently we talked with Alec Baldwin and Alison Brie and Jay Farrow from SNL, and it really goes on and on that I can't.
So
even
you're
think
talking
of
to them about what, just so they get understanding?
So
I think we should we get into this now? Or
we'll do hyphen that and we'll jump in. Hi Max and Felicity from Mugs Cahill.
Hi
Robert Disco says hello to Lee J.
And we have to say thank you to our two sponsors, which are Steel Wines.
Oh, yeah.
Hey,
it's all right. They've already had a glass of whiskey, so they're fine. I'm gagging for the wine.
You got your fishbowl here.
So yeah, I'm here with Steel Wines, and also with Scriptation. I just have to read you a little blurb about Scriptation. Want to have your script featured? Can we do it away from the mic?
I was actually going to move towards it.
Wine.
And the podcast listeners, they feel it.
Yeah.
Want to have your script featured in Hollywood's #1 production app. The Scriptation Showcase is the screenwriting competition that circulates winner scripts to Hollywood directors, showrunners, executive, and producers. 15 writers will be featured for a full year in Scriptation, the app used on thousands of film and TV productions. The grand prize and top prize winners will receive cash prizes and access to Scriptation Industry Pro. Sounds amazing, actually. This new season of Scriptation Showcase is now. Submit your script now at showcasecompetition.com or through the ISA's contest directory. We will put that link up for you, Chris.
It's a really
beautiful
cool new thing. People aren't doing that, and at least in terms of the way they're doing this.
Yeah.
So that's a good idea.
Well, I think the thing is that we have our top 25 screenwriters to watch that we've done for 2018, 19, and now 20, and that kind of gives you an elevation and a kind of a shortcut to directors finding you. And I feel like this is the same thing. And we're big supporters. They support us and our top 25, and really want to support them back. Yeah. And it was, it's, I think, any way that you can find yourself at the top of a list, or a bit more accessible, or
people say yes to you before other people do.
Yeah. Then take it. And this seems a very good way of doing it. And how to enter it will go up. And good luck. Good luck.
It's all opportunity.
Absolutely all opportunity. So we have a bit more housekeeping. I feel like we should just get this over with, everybody.
We did say thank you to Steel Wines.
Yes,
right?
thank you to Steel Wines. We're drinking the Franck, Cab Franck. That was my request because I like this one very much. Should we just do a quick cheers?
Cheers.
I'll say thank you very much, Drew. We appreciate
Thank you, Drew, to Steel Wines. SteelWines.com.
Cheers.
Check it out.
And thank you for joining.
Yes.
Look even bigger up here.
Mm-hmm.
So that the 3D theater from SCTV.
Right.
Yeah,
nobody on the podcast is really understanding what that is.
Yeah. It's
These look bigger right here.
I'll cut it. Oh, yeah.
I'm just showing you the wine glass is about the actual bowl of it is about the size of my head. Interesting. So we need to talk about Sundance. The table we briefly touched on that, but it was a great success.
Yeah, come on, man.
And we have Fast Track coming up. The final deadline is February 12th, and we're accepting 2 screenplays with each application fee. And why that's good is Fast Track is actually for seasoned writers that have more than one script. So actually, that's the kind of person we're looking for. So if you have 2 scripts or more, do enter. You'll only pay for 2 scripts for 1 fee, which is great.
And if everybody listening and watching, if you don't know what Fast Track is, you need to go to the ISA site, select the Fast Track tab on the contest section of the page. Fast Track is kind of our flagship. It's our fellowship. And it's been skyrocketing so many writers. We choose 2 every year. They go around town and take a bunch of meetings with some amazing people. Yeah. And it's always a success.
It's 2 twice a year, actually.
It's a big deal. Oh, it is twice a year. Yeah.
And they have done extremely well, actually. We're actually doing some interviews tomorrow with the top 25ers, and some past Fast Track winners will be there. Hooray! Love that, love that. Also, we have the Creative Screenwriting Contest. The regular deadline is March 31st. It's only $39 to enter. And then finally, we have Your Script Produced, the International Script Competition. The feature winner is produced for $250,000. Swits woo! And the TV pilot produced for $10,000. Short script produced for $10,000 guaranteed. Well, the thing about that's really great is actually one of our top 25, Ted Campbell, won that contest last year with his script. And so he is going to get his script produced for $250,000. So it's a really great prize and very exciting.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And for that one too. We really love Your Script Produced.
Thank you to all the sponsors. Yes. We appreciate it. And we want to say hello to Wendy Lynn Stotts, who just joined us. And we had a little bit of a sunspot.
Cheers, Wendy.
And I wasn't just a little one. We played Summer Day.
Yes, indeed.
Open it up. There you go.
We're waiting. We're ready for February to be over.
Yeah.
Which hasn't even started yet.
I'm waiting for April to be over.
And then we'll get to then and it'll be like, oh, it's too hot. Oh, there's the air conditioning on.
This is the first day in a long time I didn't have to put a winter jacket on.
Yeah, right.
Which I was very excited
about.
Well,
coming from Wisconsin going to Park City, there's no real change other than the level of elevation.
Yeah.
How was Park City, by the way?
It was amazing. Just so much going on all of the time. If you've ever had the opportunity to go to Sundance, it's take it, I guess.
It's almost overcrowded at this point, to be honest.
No, it's truly insane because there is just so much going on, and it can be very overwhelming. But that you have to plan. Like you have to be ready. You game plan it. You get ready.
It's
your
like
battle
spending
strategy.
2 days at Disney World. Only so much you can see.
And absolutely, you're not going to see it all. There are theaters.
I don't think they had any idea what I meant by that reference.
I
both looked at me like,
I just don't understand because it's been gone for 5 days to Sundance and it seems very different.
Because they say you need at least 7 days at Disney World to be able to see everything.
Oh dear.
That's
their marketing
that was an
campaign.
advert for Disney World that they didn't even get to pay for.
I've been there for 7 days and I still didn't see everything, so they lied.
Oh wow,
wow.
That's pretty impressive.
Of course.
But yeah, up and down Main Street, there's installations and events going on. Whether it's like CNN buys out a building for CNN Films,
Right.
Audible turned one of the other buildings into like this cool speakeasy type place,
Oh,
which
nice.
which is neat. McMillions had its own place, which is an upcoming HBO docu-series
Oh, interesting.
about how they
yes.
scamming
McDonald's and the
the
Monopoly.
monopoly
game.
system. Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
So all sorts of different things to do, in addition to the fact that there's, of course, movies playing morning to late at night, early morning, all over Park City, and in Salt Lake City too,
Right.
which we didn't ever get out that far.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's no shortage of stuff to do.
No, right. Yeah. The highlight for you, it seemed like it was the Alec Baldwin interview.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a TV comedy nerd, and I realized kind
That's
of
true.
after the fact, that's
true.
true.
Yeah. This is true.
That I got to interview people from like 3 of my favorite shows, which is Alec Baldwin from 30 Rock.
Yeah.
There was Alison Brie from Community.
Yeah. And so many other things. I mean, it's what she's in the amazing wrestling show, Glow.
Glow, yes.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to
The
say
amazing wrestling.
Maisel, the wrestling
Amazing
Maisel.
wrestling.
Wrestling Maisel.
And then also Aubrey Plaza from Parks and Rec.
Oh, yeah.
She was
right.
there. She's in
That's
Palm
right.
Springs, which just broke the record for the highest comedy sale to come out
Really?
of Park City, out of Sundance.
Switch swoo, Palm Springs.
Whipsoo. What is this? What is this Britishism I've never heard before?
She's been acting more British in the last 24 hours. That's fun. All right. Well,
Yeah.
shoot, I had a segue there that I totally lost. I wanted to mention that Muggs Cahill knows what I meant in the Disney
Well,
World.
there you go.
Oh,
So you're not
yeah.
alone. You and Muggs.
It's just the two of you. Just the two of you. And la 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 la.
All right, so we're talking about other screenwriting resources. I mean, we could go for 3 hours and not
Yeah.
cover all of them. I think that's one thing that a lot of writers come to us and say that, where do I start, right? And so I think the best way is in terms of our conversation, is talk about the types of resources, what you're looking for. It really all depends. We talk about contests a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that you're reaching out to get more of onto the site, right?
Yeah.
There's a vetting and approval process. A lot of people don't realize that they can go to the site and just see a ton of listed contests.
Yeah, and I do like to always point out that there's, not to do any mudslinging or anything, but you might be familiar with Without a Box, which we are now without a box. That doesn't exist anymore. Film Freeway is another type, but unlike some of those other ones that we, like you said, we have a vetting process. So that's part of my pitch to get people to join.
It's part of your daily job.
It is part of my daily job.
Yeah, right.
But to say, hey, please sign up and kind of, in a way, apply to be on our list, because the fact that you make it on the list means you've got some sort of a little bit of an endorsement, because we don't just take everything.
Yeah, right.
Not just anyone. We're
No,
not
it's
like
got to be
Max.
valuable. No, I'm talking about the contests themselves. I'm not talking about the writers. I'm not involved with the writing submissions at all. But yeah, and we have Save the Cat just renewed, and unfortunately they did it close to the end of their submission period for their screenplay contest. So I think they just have till February 24th.
Oh.
But you head over to the contest area. There's all sorts of different
it
types.
saves you the Google. We have these top contests, and a lot of them are very biased, and there are certain organizations that put theirs at the top before others, which I get it, but our site has no order other than just contest deadlines.
Yeah, you can search different ways, structure different
Genres
ways,
and if there's specific genre things, but
and dates coming up.
yes, yeah.
That's the list. That's the toolbox. So I didn't mean to draw a line on it, but anyway, I just took a photograph of it. So it's articles and advice, podcasts, find a mentor, enter contest, improve your craft, guides and resources, shop the store, and community forum.
So we just covered everything, and
So
that'll
now
be
you
our
got
show
it.
today. Thank you, everybody.
Goodbye.
So we were talking about contests.
Yeah.
Contests.
All right. So contests is one thing. I think we can talk about contests really quickly. What have you learned about the various sizes, the various different types? I work with writers one-on-one all the time. And when we finish a script, I'm like, okay, you got to find 3 script contests that are going to fit and work with your script. And they always ask me, well, which ones should I submit to? A lot of people don't have the ability to ask somebody.
Yeah. How can you research it to
Yeah.
get the right one?
Well, I think that it does take a lot of looking around, and again, we can save the Google and just do that searching within our site to get an idea, because something that people are always worried about, understandably and rightfully, is is this a legit contest?
Right.
People are afraid of putting their money into just a hole that goes away and they never hear anything back. If it's on our site, it'll be a legit contest. But then you have to find your own bar for what you're looking for. Look at how much the deadline, the submission fees are compared to what the prizes are.
Right.
See if it even makes sense. You know?
Yeah.
And then I know this is if people watch all the time, this is a little bit of an echo, but if contests give you automatically script notes of some sort, or the judge's notes back, it's another benefit. But yeah, there's really more and more and more. But I think the thing to also note is that you get it into a contest, you make semifinal, you make a finalist, you win it. That is not the end of the journey; it's the beginning.
Yeah, right.
Because now that's your launching pad. And I can speak as a guy that used to be a reader for Revolution Studios, that when a screenplay would come in and it would have on the cover page or in the introduction letter, this is how it placed in all these festivals, I actually did pay attention more.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It looks like someone else has liked it too. We know we talk about that quite a lot.
Yeah. All right, so now we've got articles and advice. Maybe we'll include that with pro tips, right? We can talk about it because we don't see pro tips there. So articles and advice, you were about to go into pro tips, then we talked about some of the sponsorships and stuff. So
yeah. Oh, so you were asking me about what I do on the red carpets.
Oh,
and
yes. This is what it is.
This is what I love about being able to do this with the ISA, is because all the other media on the carpet, they're doing the same, like, tell us about your character.
Mm-hmm.
The same exact questions, and they're the most general. What's the movie about?
Yeah.
And I love this because I get to ask questions of these filmmakers for you, screenwriters. So it's not what is your character, but like what to you makes the character good. So I try to give everybody a platform to talk about the movie that they're trying to promote, but then hopefully it also gives some bit of insight to how a writer might be able to use this information they're getting.
And if you're talking to actors, you get the insight in terms of how an actor then breaks down a character and breaks down a script.
Well, and also what makes it attractive to you to actually come on board as an actor.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then also with the producers, it's kind of say we can speak about the writing too with the producers on the red carpet. You know, what attracts you to the writing? Why do you feel drawn to this story?
Yeah, it's always interesting, and it's a huge variety. Like Alan Ball, I spoke with,
amazing,
and he's so great and
so prolific.
It's always a fight. He's definitely prolific, and it's always a fight to try to get your microphone in front of him next. And he was being whisked into the screening of the premiere of the movie Uncle Frank, which is amazing. When that comes out, it's gonna, I don't know, it was just one of my favorite movies of the festival.
Wow, okay.
Watch out for Uncle Frank, everyone.
But,
and not literally.
Yes.
Not some weird Uncle Frank.
Well, maybe if you've got a weird Uncle Frank, watch out for him
You should be
too.
watching out for him.
But so I was able to just, like, he was going into the theater and I'm like, one question, please. And he came over. And since I couldn't really get into the movie, like, I got one question with Alan Ball. How do you define what is the common thread that you want to bring to every piece you ever do? And so it was kind of neat to see how he tries to approach every single story.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And it's cool when he was very good because he took a moment and was thoughtful. So many people kind of go into an auto response, but he was like, okay, well, that's the question I haven't heard today.
Yeah, right.
And he actually gave a really wonderful answer, which is available on the Pro Tips and Tricks.
So you go to Pro Tips and Tricks on the ISA site, but we also have a YouTube channel that has a lot of these interviews as well. Also.
They're both there.
Yeah.
So whether you like to come to the website or subscribe to the YouTube channel, we try to post about one a day. It's been a little bit off because I've been on the road, but otherwise about one a day.
And also you can find the Wine Wednesdays on there.
Yes. But Pro Tips are free for all members, right?
All members,
They
yeah.
were
You don't
Connect
have to be
only before, but now it's free for everybody. I think that, as we go through all these lists and talk about these things, obviously everybody can ask questions, whatever you want to ask. But I'm just laughing at Mug's comments. But the focus here is that we have to understand how about 98% of what 90% of what the ISA offers is free.
Yeah.
Maybe 85% because you got to pay for a contest. But all these resources are on the site. You just have to play around with it, and much less the profiles and what we're doing with the profiles, which it's always growing and building. Do you work a lot with the profiles?
I don't, but I've gotten to learn about them by doing these videos with Craig, our founder, who I think one of the recent ones we talked about building your library and building your profile and all that. That is an ISA Connect feature. So that is where you have to be
the expanded version. Anybody can start a profile, but the expanded features of the profiles.
Yeah.
I like that expanded profile though, because you can do a pitch, you can do a one-page synopsis, you can do your lookbook, you can do a poster, you can do a verbal pitch. And that makes a big difference. Again, if someone is looking through trying to find a script. And you have all these resources at your fingertips.
Yeah, searchable. searchable for people that might be looking.
So you got articles of advice, which is pretty straightforward and just tells you what it is. You have all these articles you can read. We try to cultivate a full list from multiple consultants. We try to pull from other resources like Creative Screenwriting Magazine. We try to put them all in one place. And this broadcast certainly sounds like we're trying to sell you on the ISA, but you're on the ISA Facebook page. You're listening and watching. You're listening through the podcast.
I think also that we want to also, I guess, let you know what is available to you, because sometimes people don't realize the value of either the site itself just as a regular member and then with the added ISA Connect. And so I think we have the
site is bigger than I think most people like they might go to a couple of areas and they assume that's a site, but there's so much there available.
But I feel like it's just also we haven't done a very good job at selling ourselves either and letting you know what's there. So
there's a level of, and that's what I tell my writers all the time through the Story Farm, that you have to continually be educating yourself. You have to be reading the trades. You have to be reading these articles and advice. Take literally 2.5 minutes and watch a video through pro tips. I mean, it's silly not to spend that time. And if you're going to be having a writing session of some kind and you're feeling a little blocked or you're just not feeling the energy, then go read something.
Or you want to look at John Hamm's lovely face.
Go look at good-looking people.
It was very bearded, so you can't see all of it.
No, but still, the eyes.
I had a joke there that nobody heard. I was insulting and making fun of Scott.
I missed it.
Making fun. Okay. Scott and I were, well, if you don't know, we were each other's first roommate here in Los Angeles in winter of 2002.
Yes.
Weird.
Yeah.
It's been weird.
It's deep.
Yeah, it
Not
is.
that weird, but
I don't know about weird. Never got that weird.
Well, I was going to say they've just been friends for a long time, which is nice. I don't understand why that's weird. It just so happened that things meant that you were supposed to stay on the same path, which is kind of cool.
Worked out.
And we still stayed in touch. As in terms of another little resource, I don't know if this is a resource, but I'm going to sell it anyway.
Okay, bring it.
We should.
Damn right.
Scott and I host a podcast called Fantastic Story Society, and you can subscribe to that on iTunes. We took December off and didn't plan on taking January off. We were going to get some done, but it's just with Sundance and how much.
We did have one come out in December.
That's true.
So we're not all.
We did have early December. That's right.
We took the holidays in January.
Well, we're going to get started again. We're going to try to do a fun interview this weekend, but it focuses on people who have amazing stories. Not just supernatural or paranormal. We had this author on, which, by the way, all of his books, I think, are up over here. I already opened them.
Oh, okay.
But we had an author who wrote 3 books just on Wyatt Earp, and he's been researching him for literally 60 years.
Oh, you have a thing about Wyatt Earp.
I love Wyatt Earp in the Old West, and so he's a great interview. We had an expert on serial killers, which was effed up, to say the least. So Fantastic Story Society, you should join.
It was flipping up.
Yeah, and we're having some interesting,
as we
activity. Said, Fantastic Story Society. We had some weird filter issues going on. Anyway.
Yeah.
Because
but that's on podcasts.
We love telling
iTunes,
ghost stories. So it's kind of the art and how people approach, because the same ghost story or just interesting story, whatever, can be told a million different ways. So I mean, it gets into just in general storytelling.
Yeah, and finding out who the people are who are actually so interested in those stories, and why, and what drew them in. It's fun. It's cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that can be a resource.
You can see other podcasts, so you don't only have to see.
Of course.
Yeah,
and listen to these too.
And actually,
nice segue into podcast.
And I should, I'll just keep bulldozing you. No.
Okay.
But Just Click Submit is a little podcast I do every so often on the ISA page, and it's about this exact thing, where each episode I do this, it's shorter, about 20 minutes, an interview with somebody that has, they're an administrator to one of the resources on our site. So it's specifically an in-depth way to look at what's out there.
Okay. Muggs says, I didn't know that podcast. Very cool. Well, there you go. Thank you, Muggs. I didn't know Max likes Wyatt Earp. Well, see, this is why we do these.
Got to get the word out
In
there.
Another life, they were friends.
I think Wyatt and I were close buds. He was probably way cooler than me, because I think he was cooler than anyone.
Well, no, it's Wyatt freaking Earp,
it's
man.
Wyatt.
That's his middle name.
Kind of hard to beat.
In hyphens.
Freaking.
In those.
I called him freaking.
Freaking.
But in terms of podcasts, so we have a ton of free podcasts on the ISA site.
From all sorts of people.
From a ton of different people.
Indie Film Hustle, Ashley Scott Myers.
Ashley Scott Myers is a regular poster. I need to get better with some of our ISA podcasts, and we're trying to figure that out. But
But while you're doing something else, chopping the vegetables or
Right.
driving in your car or something where you just want to fill some time with something that's interesting and informative and to do with your craft, then a podcast is the answer.
I have a solo podcast on there called Bookcraft, and then all of our ISA interviews. I've interviewed everybody from Paul Haggis down to, and I shouldn't say down, it's like across to a ton of other filmmakers and writers, from Bob's Burgers to, you know, a bunch of other movies and shows. So it's just a great educational tool, and it's fun. If you like listening to podcasts, you can subscribe on the iTunes podcast app. But so you got podcasts, articles and advice, pro tips, videos on YouTube and the ISA site, all these different contests. Is there something that you feel like most people aren't as aware of as they should be, if we haven't mentioned it?
I think people should check out our consultants page, which is, I think, under Find a Mentor. Just because there's such a variety. First off, I don't know if there's 100 people there. There might be well over 100 mentors listed. And so many of them are very specific that might be exactly what you were looking for. I know there's one person out there that is literally just out there to help you secure the right kind of rating. You know, if you're looking for the MPAA rating.
Right.
So they can be very, very specific, but there's really a lot of interesting options out there that it's always a good idea to get somebody who is not a friend, who doesn't know you or your voice, to take a look at your work. Right. And there's also a huge variety when it comes to, you know, depending on where you are as a writer, you might not want to invest a lot of money. Yeah. Understandably so. So there's other consultants that do this all the time. So they're still good, but they don't have a name yet, so they can't charge the bigger money. So there's a big variety of options and of pay scale.
Where do you find them then? Where do you find the people that become the mentors on the site?
A lot of times they reach out to me. It's probably about 50-50 to just searching the web and finding people that, a lot of them nowadays, they don't even have websites. They maybe just kind of put their name out there. Maybe they've got a Facebook page. Right. Yeah. But sometimes I'll find these big database pages on just Googling that has a whole bunch of people listed. Then I'll reach out and try to start a dialogue with each one. I have almost 800 people and organizations that I'm in contact with on a somewhat regular basis. Wow. Okay. And it's exhausting. But it's good stuff. It's fun.
A lot of people to choose from.
Yeah.
And so what else can we find? So you have you've got the craft stuff. So you're creating a writer's resource. So there's actually some craft stuff too. Because we're trying to think of ways we can help you, which is the whole, I mean, this, I've said this before in other ways, but the whole reason why the ISA website started is because Craig Petroviak, our founder, was starting out to be a writer, and he kept finding himself in real difficulty. He couldn't find someone, he couldn't find a good contest, then he couldn't find a mentor, and then he couldn't find someone to write with him. And so everything, this whole site has come out of writers' needs, and it has grown and adapted and changed and expanded because writers have either asked, or writers themselves who are part of the company have said, I'm worried about this, or this isn't working for me. Yeah.
And I will say that sometimes when you ask where do I get my leads, sometimes it's from ISA writers that they might reach out to. Maybe I'll see them at a Third Thursday, which is a great resource too.
So meet each other, play, hang out.
Or they'll reach out to our support, Diane at support, and say, hey, maybe I placed in this contest, but it's not on the site. And so that'll be a clue that, I should reach out to them. Right. Or sometimes it is.
And actually, to note on that, the reason a writer would reach out and say, hey, this is on the site, is because through their profile, they can tag themselves as a semifinalist, finalist, winner, grand prize winner, or whatever in a particular contest. So that when someone, a professional or anybody, looks at someone's profile, then they see all these little logos of all the contests that they've placed in, that they've won, etc. And it really starts to look like this impressive resume if you've done well in a bunch of contests. And so it's smart of that writer to reach out and go, hey, I want to tag this contest, but it's not there.
No, it's really neat. If you are on the ISA site now, head on over to the top 25, and you can start to click through the profiles of our top 25 screenwriters, and you see like, oh gosh, I want a profile that looks like that. It's inspiring.
And honestly, the best way to do that is just to be as prolific as you can, to be churning out material, to be educating yourself. And that's why, Felicity's referencing the craft, which is a coursework. And really all of this is education. And whether it's third Thursdays can be an education because you're teaching yourself how to network, teaching yourself how to talk to people, how to pitch. Sometimes they ask you, what are you working on? And then suddenly you go into your self pitch, your project pitch. It's all education. And I don't think enough writers realize that. It's not sitting down for a class necessarily, which of course is education, but this is all education.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And there are some classes listed on the site, but yeah, not a lot. And we're trying to get more. A lot of times it's difficult because you're dealing with a school that has to go through the board members and votes and just it's exhausting.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are actual classes on there as well.
Yeah.
And writing gigs.
So writing gigs, Connect member only. If you're willing and able to spend $10 a month,
or $100 for 12 months,
100 for the whole year.
If you just pay it in one big lump,
you get more than just writing gigs, a lot more. But the writing gigs is kind of our job board, if you will. Calls for scripts, writers looking to work with people. We try to post 3 or 4 a week, maybe 2.
I think it's more than that. Amy is taking it over, so I used to do that as well.
Right.
But I feel like my phone is blowing up a couple times a day.
That's true. I do see emails coming.
One came in like a half hour ago.
Yeah, that was a musicals gig.
Okay.
That technically speaking, our production company is looking for.
Well, there we go.
Musicals.
So it's good for producers to use too, you're saying?
Yeah.
I had a meeting with the writing filmmaking team on yesterday. Monday. Whatever it was.
2 days.
It was a very memorable meeting. Really great young couple, and she's a director. He's producing her content. She's been an actor for a while. He acts, but she also teaches a pitching class in New York. They live in New York, and so they were in town just taking meetings, and I met them at Holly Shorts, and they said that my panel was really great, so they just wanted to have a general meeting. The reason we got together was because she wanted to try to figure out a way to combine the craft course with her pitching class and have some kind of online thing. But she's also a talented filmmaker, and she's been taking meetings around town, and she's taken meetings. Well, in 2 of those meetings, they both said we're looking for musicals and musical-oriented stuff.
Wow.
And these are companies that we didn't know because our agent said that the industry in the town is really looking for musicals and musically oriented content, which is wild that people. It's this. Everybody's mentioning Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist. Everybody's talking about it.
Wow.
And I didn't think it was that popular. It looks fun. I don't know how it can continue. But anyway, you should look at that gig, and if you haven't written a musical or if you have something about music, in it somehow.
I wonder if somebody, if people have been putting out, and now you think it's dead, but if you spec'd My Crazy Ex-Girlfriend,
right,
which wrapped up, so you think, oh, now I've got the spec that I can't do anything with. Well, maybe it might actually be relevant again.
The interesting thing is that we've learned from not only our agent, but a whole bunch of other consultants. Lee Jessup is one of them. She said that specs aren't as important for managers now or for staffing. They mainly want to see original content with maybe a reference to staffing or to speccing. So it's interesting how the industry is changing, and I'm realizing as I'm saying this, that Wine Wednesday itself is a resource that you should be watching and listening to this on a regular basis. But our agent today was talking about how staffing seasons are so different. And that the major studios and networks are moving the staffing season way up because, oh gosh, I don't even remember everything she was telling us, but it's all different because all of the different streamers are trying to
there's no content. It's not the fall premieres anymore.
Yeah, there are still pickups and that the studios and the networks
they're trying to get out there early, she said.
Yeah, they're trying to get ahead of these streamers. Anyway, I'm rambling and talking a lot, but I don't know how to end or segue.
Well, there we go.
Well done, Max. Yeah. No, I think the thing is the Wine Wednesdays has been lovely for us because it really actually allows us to have a communication with you as well. And there have been times where we have asked for questions and you've joined in. And I especially used to love doing the quiz, although it was no fun for people on the podcast. But it was really good fun to play, or if you had a slow internet connection. But I feel like as well, Mary Davis, who is a regular.
She wasn't able to make it tonight. I think she had another procedure done today.
But she is a regular listener and poster, and she's been so helpful. And I think other people have made friends in listening to Wine Wednesday and talking to each other and helping each other out. I think people have swapped log lines because they've become friends in this resource. You probably don't realize how much there is for you and actually how much it's helping you, and until you stand back and have a bit of a look at the big picture.
Because there's so much.
There's so much, and then at the same time, writing can be such a singular, lonely process, and so you feel like you're on your own. Oh, I have to do this myself. But even just going online, you can realize there's such a huge community and so many things at your fingertips that you can utilize and take advantage of. So,
yeah,
you know.
I love because and I don't know if I can talk about any specific, but I know one of our top 25 writers just had a production deal happen recently, and I just felt like so happy for him and proud of him. Like, I know this guy from Wine Wednesday, and dude, look, he's doing it, and that's part of the community feeling, you know, that's cool.
Right.
Yeah.
I think, you know, if nobody has any questions, we can obviously keep asking questions if you have any, guys. Anybody listening on the podcast, if you have questions about resources, you can email any three of us, Felicity @ Scott @ Max @ networkisa.org, and we can answer any questions that you might have.
But I'd always say that the point of the ISA website is to be the one-stop shop. Yeah, that if you want to find any element of anything related to writing, you should be able to find it there. And if you can't, let us know about it and we'll fix that.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It's a constantly changing and very malleable website. And so if you guys have any suggestions, send them on over.
Yeah. I think the main thing I guess is we want to highlight is that the industry doesn't exist without writers. You know, there are no stories without you. But sometimes it feels like you're very much on your own. And so you need writers' resources. These are supposed to help you keep going, keep inspired, keep enthused, keep telling your stories. And we're not the only site that has these resources for you. We try to be the one that has all of them in one place. But I think taking time out, I mean, I think there's we talked a bit about it last week, about, I don't know, patterns and habits and things to get into to really kind of drill down your writing and make sure you don't give up and turn it into a habit so that you turn up for it every day. And that's also a writing resource. You know, I mean, I use timers for amount of time I'm going to spend on something, planners, so you write it in your diary and make sure that you specifically put the time aside, a date book, so you plan out when you're going to get something written by, so you give yourself some targets. Sure. This is all personal writer's resource. Expenses, even keeping a note of your expenses, of the work you've done for your taxes, the contests that you've submitted. I believe they're going to add that to the ISA too as well, an expenses page, but it's on its way, not yet. So keeping a note of all that, that's all writers' resources too. And I think whatever you can do to make it easy for yourself and a shortcut, do it. Find it, you know, find your little method, try lots of different avenues, and then, I don't know, pick your favorite.
Yeah, plenty of options. We're here if and when you need me, only me. Don't reach out to them.
Direct email and website.
Yeah, just let us know what's happening with you guys. Share your success stories. That's another thing that we didn't mention. You can be posting success stories to your website.
Your profile.
Success stories.
It's an experiment in alcohol.
I'm sure I basically read all the success stories. I'm looking for people to add to the development slate. The development slate is our higher tier of writers. We have taken our development slate and our top 25 to producers meetings. We are working on a new development slate program that will mean we have dedicated members of staff now actually looking for particular outlets for our development slate writers for their projects. This is all us trying to help you, again, get your project sold, to help you be a success, to encourage more writers to join in, be part of the gang. You know, together I feel like we can do this, but it is about community and building a community, and so that you can help each other. We've had people from Third Thursdays write together and sell scripts. Yeah.
I would say I'm going to take a left turn.
Do it.
A writer or a resource for a writer, I guess maybe when you're in the stage that you want to start looking at packaging or getting, you know, professional actors to look at your stuff. I'm just trying to think of something that doesn't sound like it's more of the sales pitch, right. You know, the Comic Cons and those types of conventions, any kind of a social media expo type thing, those could be really fun ways to meet new people that have the same interests of you. Maybe they're in the same business. I had a friend who he had a finished film, so it's, you know, a little bit beyond the writing, but it finished film, but he had no distribution. He had no idea what to do with it. And this is more than 10 years ago when they were doing the 8 Films to Die For. It was a series that I think maybe it was New Line, somebody like that was putting out. So they were trying to find 8 independent films to give a theatrical national distribution for. And they had a table set up to promote it. And my friend is like, hey, so you've picked all of your movies yet? And like, we're at 7. We're stuck at 7.
No way.
He's like, well, can I show you mine? And they bought it. And so it made, and that's, just like walking into like probably an airport Hilton ballroom with one of a million vendors.
Right.
So you just don't know so that could be a good place to also get access to actors, I should say, that you may be daydreaming about playing a certain role and find a place to put a script or a concept in their world, and
it's all about
maybe they can help shepherd you.
And lookbooks, creating a lookbook so that everyone has a short version to it. Oh God, I had an idea then, another kind of like you were saying about the Comic-Con thing. Oh my God, it's gone out of my head.
We'll cut this from the podcast.
Oh God, there was a moment where I was just thinking about that. Trying to get people in. Oh my goodness, it's gone away. I'll have to think about something else for a second.
But at the same token, attending film festivals, even if you don't have a script in the project, in the
I remember
context.
It's Amazon, but come back.
There we go. But yeah, just to again continue to meet people and all types of people.
Absolutely.
Sundance is huge, so you don't have to always go that big. But I don't know, F Dances with Films is still doing it down there on
Napa Valley Film Festival is an amazing place to go and meet new people and drink amazing wine.
I mean, I think again, find the festival, see if it does films that are like your film. So especially if you've written horror or something like that, there's so many horror festivals that you can go to. Find one that's in the area or has other films that have won you like, and then go and say hello and go and join in. It's a festival is one of the few places where you can literally walk up to someone and say, hello, I'm here for this. My film is here, or my script is this. Who are you and what are you doing here? I mean, it's such a
it brings you to the festival, and then suddenly your conversation's off and running.
Yeah, exactly. I spoke at the Green Bay Film Festival last year, which is quite little. I mean, it's a small town. It's in February, so it was not exactly busily attended, and I don't want to disparage them at all because I love what they're doing. And there was a very small audience, but I'm still in contact with some of them.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's
sometimes
cool.
it's better if it's a small audience.
Yeah.
You might meet 2 or 3 people and then really
actually
spend a lot of time.
So then I was thinking writers' retreat. So I've been invited to be on a writers' retreat, either the end of this year or next year. So that's another writers' resource. And then I was thinking about Amazon, publishing your own book, creating some IP.
Totally.
Getting a audience to kind of find you already, writing and building your writer's CV because you've got published books.
And that's going back to building your brand, branding yourself as a writer, I should say. And I could talk at length with that.
And Muggs is asking or saying another great resource is the Writers Guild Foundation. You can sign up for free for email. And get info for all kinds of producers, talks, and interviews with showrunners. That's obviously, most of those events are in Los Angeles, but if you're in LA, then you should be looking for those open free events.
And they have a library. They have a free library, so you can go and read the screenplays.
You don't need to be a WGA member to do it. Yeah, so there you go. Thank you, Muggs.
Yeah.
See, but this is the thing, watching and listening to this, you help each other. And that's the other thing, and maybe that's the last writer's resource we should talk about, each other. You are each other's writer's resource. Your
friends, most people that have made it big can talk about people that they met early on and then they went up through the ranks together. That's how a lot of the executives and junior assistants and all those creative execs and studios, they all become friends and they move up. So anybody you're working with and alongside, I mean, it's your crew is your crew.
Yeah, be in the world.
Yeah.
I had a really nice message actually today that was on my Instagram. A guy called Jeff Ryan, who is a writer-director that I know, and he was in the room where it's like the pre-Oscars lunch, where the people have been nominated kind of going up, and he was there with his best friend, who literally they went to college together. They got their first room in an apartment together in Los Angeles. They did the first film, Frey, together that he worked on. And then Jeff kind of been doing his other stuff. And this guy, I wish I could remember his name. But anyway, he's done a short film that is being nominated for an Oscar for. It's a black and white one. And he said he was there in the room watching his best mate, who they have literally been through thick and thin. They lived in New York, then LA, then, through all the hard times. and he was his guest of honor, which is so sweet that he brought his best mate along for them to go while he went up to the stage and stood there with all the other Oscar nominees. So that is amazing.
Well, and just think about Quentin Tarantino's speech we saw a couple of weeks ago.
Final draft awards
with it was his coworker from the video stores who he would give his notes to, like these.
I remember hearing that story. These
bundles of papers and say, "Here, read my script," and then his friend typed them up for him. And it was the first time he saw it in screenplay format.
Right.
And they co-wrote Pulp Fiction. So coming up together.
And he literally said, to everyone in front of the whole writers crew that were there at the final draft award ceremonies, another writer's resource.
Yeah.
He said, without this man, I wouldn't be here because of that. He tells that story. He made his friends stand up in front of the whole of the audience. And we all clapped him.
It was touching.
Yeah, that's very sweet. So I think that's it. Remaining friends, keeping your friends close. Understanding it's not a competition between you. If you've given the same outline, you would still write different scripts. So don't be worried about sharing your ideas, or obviously not too much, but I mean, like, do look out for each other, make friends, and drag each other up by the bootstraps or something.
There you go, something like that.
I think that's a good way to finish it off. I mean, well, actually, let's see. Muggs is saying, what do you think of creating a graphic novel to have an IP? Yeah, so that's what we kind of mentioned, that you can create IP for your material. And you don't have to get anybody else's approval for it. You can just hire an animator, an illustrator, get somebody that knows how to publish on Amazon, or just learn yourself, which I did, and it's extensive and very difficult and a pain in the ass. But you can do it, and it costs very little to no money other than hiring some of the artists and an editor. And of course, your time. That's the problem. It's a lot easier said than done, Muggs, to just create your own IP, but it's very, very possible, and you should consider it.
Yeah, and I was going to say, and I know you would know this, but just to put it out there, is you think comic book or graphic novel, you think the Avengers or something like that, but like Road to Perdition started as a graphic novel.
There's so many books that have been optioned. There are news articles. That's something Felicity and I have talked about multiple times. Just write something and put it out there. Submit it to Zoe Deschanel's website, Hello Giggles, or all these journalistic sites where you can write stories.
Blogs.
Yeah, and that's IP.
It is IP. It just builds your writer's resume.
Yeah. All right. I think with that said, I think we're good to go. Everybody who came in a little late, you can go back and rewatch this, or we're going to post this live we're going to post this as a podcast on the ISA site, probably within a week.
YouTube.
I think it'll eventually go on. He's going to be the
one. I'll do it. I'm not going to do it till I get back home.
He does all of our editing and but thanks everybody for joining us as always. I think our next broadcast is going to be 2 weeks. I don't know if I'm going to be on it yet. We got to figure out if there's going to be a co-host, but we're going to keep going.
Yes, we will.
We're here for you at the ISA, and thank you again, Scriptation, and thank you, Steel Wines, for the lovely wine. Look, Max downed his.
I did.
I never thought I was a slow drinker. But
I am a faster one, and with the first drink, for some reason, I'm like, bam, and then the second one, I take my time. It's like, give me drunk now, and then I like to just kind of relax a little bit and continue the. Anyway.
You want the buzz? You want the quick buzz?
All right, thanks everybody. You will see you in a couple weeks. Have a good night.
Over now.